Thank you, Danny, and Liz and Ronnie. Ronnie did a good job this morning. I was going to make, sometimes I make inappropriate comments. I don't know if you ever noticed that. But remember, Danny got a good sermon that's got "Why Me, Lord" in it as an example. I was going to think, well, y'all ought to go on the road. But you know, let me tell you what, I love Chris Christopherson, but every time I hear him sing, I always think, bless his heart. You know, so let's bless his heart. He's a great songwriter, but somebody ought to tell him, you know, I think people just like Chris. He seems like a really likable guy. Nobody has a heart to tell him he can't sing. So I thought, Ronnie, you did a lot better than Chris does. And like I said, I like Chris. But you and Danny go on the road. We've been trying to find a way to get y'all out of here anyway, and get some gigs, some engagements. The "Why Me, Lord" tour. And when people look at y'all, they will say, "Why them, Lord?" and it'll be so good.
Or they can say, "Why me, Lord?"
Yeah, why me? Why us today, Lord? Now, let me tell you something. If you'll pay attention, if you'll just just pay attention in life in general. Sometimes we're just kind of blasting through it all. God will just bless your heart. I was loading up Randy in the car just a few minutes ago, and God said, I wonder if I knocked him in the head with a big old acre and what that would look like. And boy, put Randy in there, and boy, it just like a bomb, boy, it was right at the top of the head. And I just thank the Lord for those blessings in life like that. His head rang like a gourd. It just like it was like a bell.
Yeah, but when he came down there, the acorn is permanently dented.
So the Lord's always doing funny stuff like that. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss a real good blessing. And I just looked up, I said, boy, I wouldn't have missed that for nothing. So,
no, see, that was the problem. He missed you and hit me.
yeah, well, no. He thought the sky was falling. I said, let's get in the van, Chicken Little. We're going to church, ain't it? Boy, it's just perfect. Just perfect. No, because I know a second one fell. You know, the wind's not blowing. I didn't see any squirrels. But that one missed us both by a mile. So I said, well, let's get out of here. We're under attack. My, let's see. Does anybody know why the flags are at half-staff in Priceville today? Is it because Auburn lost? Is that it? That's all? Or maybe because Judge Kavanaugh was confirmed? I don't know if there's an angry Democrat wanting to lower. Maybe something's going on that there's always seemed like some bad news. That bothers me. I say, I'm out of the groove or something. I'm not in the groove. Something has happened. And if you find out, let me know. I hope there's nobody passed on.
The president had asked all the government buildings to lower theirs to half-mast today in honor of all the fallen firefighters.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you got it then. That's all.
There you go,
All right.
Henry. In the know.
You filled in the gap.
Henry's in the
Filled in the
know.
gap. We're going to let Henry preach one of these Sundays because I don't want to embarrass you, Henry. Yeah, I do. But I'm going to go ahead. He remembered something he read in Our Daily Bread from several days back that would have made my sermon even longer than it was this morning. But he not only remembered it, but he went out in the foyer and found it and got a copy. So next Sunday's sermon will be extra long. I'm going to include that. But he's always, I think. And listen, if the Lord ever moves on you, you feel the Spirit gets into you here, and just something would sound better than anything I'm saying, just jump up and say it. Because my sermons could always use an extra slice of bologna or something to help a little bit. I appreciate that, Henry. I do. And tell me, but you don't have to tell me after the sermon, but it's always a blessing. He gets some good insights, and I appreciate that. I hope that's the thing. Danny, when I go and listen to preachers, God just fills my mind up every time I hear a preacher, not just to steal everything he's preaching, but I get ideas, and God says, well, what about this or that? And he draws attention to things that maybe the speaker didn't even mention. So I hope that that whenever I preach or whenever you hear anybody preach or sing, I hope that you got both ears open and your eyes, and God, you just let God will just throw stuff at you, man, just like acres. He'll knock you out if you let him. All right,
Brother John.
Yes, sir.
I have to listen intently to you, or I'll go to sleep.
Sometimes I think Andy's the only one that really listens because he's got to change the channels. But y'all carry on. Speaking of sleeping, I just pray for Ned and Betsy. I did this because I miss them.
Oh, my goodness.
I know I'm doing a good job if they're both back there just dead to the world because they trust me and they don't feel like they...
She put a picture on Facebook today, on her.
A picture?
Uh-huh.
She got his bracelet?
He's got the neck brace on. There is somewhere, I can't remember where it was called, and there was a pumpkin thing, but she's there's snow on the ground.
Yeah, they're dragging him out.
Sweats and everything, and there's snow.
They're dragging him out and going to fiddlers conventions and things like that. So
He's got his little smile, little Ned smile.
He told me he's been to church every Sunday except the first one after he failed.
yeah,
So he's going
He's
to
getting
church
out.
out there every Sunday.
he's amazing. I do miss him. What we ought to do is buy one of those little portable basketball goals and have it here when he gets back. And tell him we
That's so mean.
need him to install it.
That's so mean. Don't even pray.
There's a store behind it. Well, let's go on. Let's get on with this. I got to get to Scottsboro, and y'all need to go home. Good to see you out tonight. Save me. Save me. Listen, I wish I could paint or draw. I take photographs. I do that a lot. And this week, a lot of Terry's friends and family members are just amazed that I have pictures of her all the way back to birth.
Yeah.
And I love photographs, and I have thousands of them. I wish I could tell you that they're all categorized and organized, but they're not. They're just a big mess. And actually, a lot of times I'll put up pictures like that, and it'll be of people, and their loved ones will say, I've never seen that picture in my life. And that's of my husband, or when he was 17 years old or something like that. So I love doing that, but I keep painting, keep drawing. And this is a painting. I really like it. I really like that. This is a boat. Now, I'm not a sailor. I've been on the water some. There's a difference between a boat and a ship, I understand. I can never remember what is the bow or the stern. I just have to say this end and that end. Run to the bow. I said, I'm sunk. I don't know which way to go. If you told me now, maybe you know, Andy's going to Google it. I wouldn't know it tomorrow. I've learned that probably 1,000 times. It just, run to the stern. I don't know. But I like this. I like that. Say, you know that story. We're going to read that story from Scripture. Let's go on, Andy. Matthew 14, if you want to turn there in your Bible. Matthew 14. There are a few sea stories of Jesus. This is the one of walking on the water. There was one where they were just out in the boat, out in the ship, and he calmed the sea. That's a different one. And I put verse 21 there so that we could see that he had just fed. He was there at a little place called Tabgha. Tabgha is just a little, it's right outside Capernaum. Well, there ain't hardly enough of Capernaum to have an outside, but I didn't learn about it until I actually got a chance to go over there, and I didn't know, I'd never heard of Tabgha. But there's a little chapel there, and boy, about 1,500 years ago, they put in a tile floor in that church, and they made a mosaic. I mean, it's 1,500 years ago, about 500 years after Jesus, and it had a mosaic in the tile of some bread and fish in a basket. And so you go to Tabgha today, and they're still talking about that. I mean, I remember someone asked Hank Williams Jr. one time about what he thought about his daddy's music. He said, he said in 50 or 60 years, he said, nobody's going to be singing my music. But he says they're going to be singing my daddy's music. And I don't know what it is. I love Hank Williams Sr. I love all his songs. If I can't get drunk anymore, but if I want to feel that way, I just go listen. My bucket's got a hole in it, or things like that, or move it on over. Well, in Tabgha, they're still talking about Jesus feeding the thousands. Man, there's nothing that I have ever done that people are going to be talking about for a long time. And you go over there. As a matter of fact, I've been there twice to Tonga, and there seems like it's always almost elbow to elbow. There are people from all over the world. They want to come there and see the place where it happened. And it's just something happened there. You know, I don't care how atheistic or unbelieving you are. Something happened there. I'm pretty sure is what the Bible said. So they equal about 5,000 men besides the women and children. So that's the tail end of that, the feeding the 5,000 story. Verse 22. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship. So it's a ship, and it's different than it's bigger than a boat. And to go before him onto the other side while he sent the multitudes away. Now that's just a really strange thing. He sent the disciples. They're kind of like his bodyguard and his helpers, and they're waiting on him, and they watch over him, and they surround him, make sure the mob, but he sent them, and y'all get in the boat, and y'all go on. I'm going to send the multitudes away. And I wonder how he did that. Y'all go away now. You know, if I'm there, and if I'm one of the multitudes, and Jesus said, y'all go away now, I'd say, I'm just going to stay. I just want to stay a little while. It's one of my favorite Jackson Brown songs. Stay just a little bit longer. He'd say, no, I mean it. You don't have to go home, Jesus said, but you can't stay here. All right. Well, we're going to talk some about that in this series. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he did obviously, he said, I mean it, go. I don't know how. He went up into a mountain park to pray, and when the evening was come, he was there alone. He was there alone. All right, let's go on. Now, this is a map, a topographical map of Israel. That's the nation of Israel, the state of Israel. And that little block area there, let me get my pointer. Man, I hardly ever get to play with it. I forget I even got it. So I've got it here. It's all with our... That dotted line area right there, it's a big, long story. I ain't going to go into it. It's just a heartbreaking thing. But that belongs to the Palestinians.
That's the West Bank, right?
Yeah. And there's a wall around that whole park. And it works. It keeps people in and it keeps people out because it's a double fence, and marching up and down in the middle part of those two fences are Israeli soldiers with dogs. I mean, sure enough dogs. Now, none of that. Kind of like, no, I ain't going to dig under the fence kind of dogs. And when you got, if you go to Bethlehem, it's Palestinian. You go to Nazareth, it's Palestinian. Some of the biggest holy places. You go in Jerusalem, the Temple Mount is owned by the Palestinians, by Muslims. We were standing right there in front of the Eastern Gate, and I started breaking out and singing the Eastern Gate. People came by, I thought they was going to get it. I said, no, you can't sing about Jesus on the Temple Mount. I started to say, and our tour guide said, it's snake. So, okay. You know what the funny thing is? They got the Eastern Gate, the gate, they got it all walled up so Jesus can't get in. I thought that was so funny. Y'all are so
If he
funny.
passed through a closed door, what's that?
Yeah, I'm thinking, y'all got it all bricked up, have you? Very good luck on that. Then we'll sing. We'll sing whatever we want to. Well, anyway, that's ridiculous, as they said. This here, that's the Negev down there at the southern part. And right about in there in that mountain range right there, that's where Masada's at. That's where that big flat top mountain is where the Israeli resistors made their big last stand. And right there, it's actually right beside the Dead Sea. That's the Dead Sea right there. There's not a living thing in the Dead Sea. And I'll show you some films of that sometime, but it's just salt water, and it's just got so much minerals in it. There's not a microbe or an amoeba. There's not a piece of out there, nothing. It's just dead. Because right up here in Mount Hermon, and there's a mountain range right up here to the north, and snow falls on there year round, and it rains up there. And the water comes down, and it makes a beautiful, fresh, pretty freshwater lake that in the Bible in some places is called the Lake of Gennesaret. or the Sea of Tiberias, or the Sea of Galilee. And that's that little bitty pond, we call it a lake. It ain't even big as a lake. They call it a sea, it makes them do more important. And it flows down through here. It comes, that's the Jordan River. The Jordan River, right about in there, there's a waterfall. And it's probably about 300 feet tall. And every time I've been there, it's been low rainfall, and I haven't been able to see it. The waterfalls, I've seen pictures of it. It's just beautiful. There's the Jordan River right along there. Jericho is right about in there. It's Palestinian. And it all flows from here down into the Dead Sea, and it doesn't have an outlet. It doesn't go anywhere else. And it's always been a tremendous life lesson that if God is blessing you and you're receiving breath and life and food and clothing, if you don't have an outlet, you'll die. If you're not a giver, if you're not generous, if you're not letting things, if you're not a generous person, if you don't have an outlet, you see, the only reason God gives you stuff is to meet your needs and to meet the needs of people that you know. So don't let things just block up there. Everything will die. All right, next slide there, Andy. Now there's a close-up of the Sea of Galilee. It's kind of a cartoon picture. They built a city right here, and that's usually when you go and stay in a motel, you stay in Tiberias on the Sea of Galilee. Right up here at the top is Capernaum. And there's Migdal. Mary was from Migdal, Mary Magdalene. And they, just back about 10 or 15 years ago, they discovered Migdal. I mean, a lot of people just look at places and names in the Bible and say, oh, it's all made up stuff. And then they'll dig down a little ways and they'll start finding all different kinds of pottery and documents and things that are written on papyrus or on clay tablets. And so this is Migdal, and it's like business reports and everything like that. Now, so there's Capernaum. That's where Peter, James, and John all live. And that's the most beautiful seashore right there. And right along, up here, it's not a part of the drawing, but all along this ridge right here. And it goes all the way down, all the way up to Syria. That's the Golan Heights. And that belongs to Israel. Golan. And the Arabic people are always wanting to negotiate for that, or they're trying to take it. It's highly guarded. If you had possession of Golan Heights, you could just lob grenades over into Israel. You can see it from the Golan Heights. You can drive up there. But if you go into, like I said, Palestinian areas, you got to go through checkpoints. And they empty all your pockets, take your shoes off, look through your luggage, look through your camera bag. And that's when you go in, you go out. You go in, you go out to these different holy places, because that's the way it is. And everybody there, so there's some Israelis who work in there, they have to go through that every day. And then there's some Palestinians who come out and they work in the Israeli part and they have to go through that every day. And you think if you've ever waited at the airport to go through security, they ain't nothing like they do. Because that's a violent place and they keep it under control. Every once in a while you'll hear of some violence breaking out over there, but they eat it up just like, man, they're all over. They're all over. Somebody say, well, aren't you afraid to go over there? I never felt safer anywhere in my life. They on top of it. There ain't nobody sleeping at the wheel over there. So this is the body of water that we're talking about. Jesus was up here. Todd goes right up there near Capernaum. And so he sends them out. He's sending them to come over here. And so he says, y'all go on. And he says he went up into a mountain to pray. Let's look at the next slide, Andy. Well, there's the Sea of Galilee. Well, it's just breathtaking. It's just beautiful. I thought something in preparation for this message I never thought before. It would never occur to me, either on a boat or from the shore. Now, Terry did take her shoes off and kind of dangled her feet, but I did, and not any statement about her. If someone says, "Well, go for a swim," I just feel like I went to the Catholic Church and was washing my face in the holy water. You know, no, I jump in the Sea of Galilee. You got to be kidding. I don't know. I was just overcome. All right, next slide, Randy. Sunset on the Sea of Galilee. You can see the Golan Heights in the back. It's just beautiful. All right, go on. Sunrise. Sunrise on the Sea of Galilee. Man alive. God sure smiles on that place. Go on to the next slide. Now, they have these are ships, and they don't really fish. There's not that fishing, but they take tourists out, so it's a touristy thing. As a matter of fact, about 80 to 90% of Israel's income is through tourism. People come, there are pilgrims there, and I've never been there during Easter or Christmas, and they say it's just wall-to-wall people all over Israel. We always went in the spring in March, and it was just before Easter. But you can get on one of these ships right there and go out on the Sea of Galilee. It's just wonderful. All right, next slide. They have sails, massive sails, but they're diesel. They run on diesel engines. It's really not modeled after anything historic. The ships on there probably didn't look a lot like this, but they were similar. And the reason I'm showing these two, you see the Golan Heights back there in the background. It's just beautiful. But I want you to see these because in the text that we read, the story, they were in a ship, not a boat. And you need to think about this when it says that Peter got out of the boat. Think about that. It was about 10 feet from farther, probably 12, 14 feet. But you don't just step out and start walking on the water. You got to climb over the side. Okay, the next slide there, Andy. There's Golan Heights. It's just, they can grow anything there. They can grow anything there. They even grow hogs. Hogs. But according to the law, they can't have any swine or hogs in the Holy Land. So if you go to a hog farm, they build platforms. Platforms as big as this building that have slats. They're made out of slats so that the pigs are on those platforms. They're not in the Holy Land. Right. See how stupid God is? He can't figure that out. God's saying, well, look at there. No, well, we'll fool God. We'll raise these hogs here in the Holy Land, and they won't really be.
Well, see, that's a loophole.
Yeah, it is. That's what they think. God, I just shake my head. I don't want to be standing anywhere next to any of them people. But I did have me some barbecue ribs while I was over there, so I'm just completely under-dented. All right, let's go on. Now, we sailed from Tiberias over to Capernaum on a ship, tourist ship, and we got off there, and there's a museum there. Now, back in 1995, somebody discovered this boat, this little boat, in the muck in the seabed of the Sea of Galilee. They call it the Jesus boat. And you can carbon date wood, and they've carbon dated this thing. There's no way in the world to tell if Jesus ever stepped in this boat or his disciples. But this boat was around when Jesus was. That's all that's left of it. They encased it in foam to get it up out of the water and to get it onto the shore. And then they took all that foam off. But Jesus, well, you see that thing? Man, 2,000 years old. Okay, let's go on. It's amazing. All right, in water. Now, this is a verse, Mark chapter 4, verse 36. It's a different verse from Jesus where he calmed the sea. But it's similar. It says, when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. This is when Jesus was in the ship. He was in the ship teaching. Remember, they crowded him so much. They just pushed him into the water, so they put him in the ship, and he taught them about the ship. But it says, I said, it's the difference between what a ship and a boat is, and it's not always clear in my mind. But it says, and there also were with him other little ships. Other little ships. And so when they had the great storm come up, this idea is that Jesus is in one conveyance, and then there are other little ships. Back in 1985 is when I began publishing the things that I was writing. And I needed a publishing company. So since 1985, all the books that I've published on Amazon or in other places, whether physically or digitally, have been published to the publishing company, Other Little Ships, because there's another sermon, another story there. But I always thought, man, a lot of people feel like they're just small change, and not really all that important. Well, there were always other little ships. They're important. They're part of the story too. They're part of Jesus' story. Okay, that's just an aside. Here's verse 23 again. When he had sent away the multitudes, he went up to a mountain park to pray. And when evening was come, he was there alone. Can you show the next slide? Now, there's a little cave. If you go from the Sea of Galilee, and you want to take the time, take you about an hour to climb up in the mountain there above Capernaum, there's a little cave there, and it looks like a place to go and pray. And we don't know Jesus, if that's where he went to be alone. It really looks like a really, really neat place to go and pray, though, to be alone. So they tell you that that's a really good chance. It's a good place to pray, and it's like been there forever. So we climbed up there to see it. And it's got little benches in there made that people have put together. Tell them how old that's been there. But so Jesus, after he chased everybody off and got rid of the disciples, he went up there to pray. Jesus needs some alone time, and me and you probably need some too. We probably need to pray. If he felt like he needed to pray, maybe we need to pray too. I kind of feel like it's one thing that I need to do more of. It's just being alone and praying. Just me and the Lord. Okay, let's go on. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. I like the turn of phrase, the Holy Spirit. It was contrary. It wasn't worth a flip. It was not helping. The wind was contrary. It was so contrary that these were seasoned fishermen, and they were scared to death. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit." And they cried out of fear. They wept out there. It's a ghost. I do believe in spooks. All right, let's go on. Who we are. There's a picture. That little youth. You ain't going to see anything like that on Smith Lake or down on Flint Creek. But that's a picture. They say, well, that can happen on that little bitty lake. It's because mountains are there on both sides, and it just seems that things come down and whip it down out there. And it's not something you can see coming. You can just be out there watching your bobber or throwing a net, and all of a sudden, man, you're in deep trouble. All right? That's why they did all the fishing near the shore. Jesus walking out on the water. That's scared to death. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid." That's easier said than done. Don't be afraid, said the ghost. And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if that really is you, Lord, if that really is you, bid me come unto thee on the water." What is wrong with him? What kind? The other disciples went like this. What? And Jesus said, "Come." If he was from Alabama, do you know what he would have said? "Come on. Come on. Come on." Have you ever heard that voice? Come on. Two little words. That tells you a lot about Jesus. There's a lot of crazy things that you can think of or come up with. A lot of different things that you can throw at him that you'll think, well, this will. When Malachi, when he's talking about the tithe. He said, go ahead. He's talking about tithing. I mean, is there anything more boring than talking about money from the Bible? And Malachi says, this is what the Lord says. He said, go ahead. Prove me, saith the Lord. Go ahead. Just see if I won't pour you out a blessing. You just go ahead and tithe. You just give it a whirl. Just go on.
In modern English, you'd say challenge me.
That's right. You know what he wants you to say? I'm your huckleberry. Man, I'm your huckleberry. I'll do it. Come on. Man. I don't think we've ever tested that part of the Lord where we said, let's do this. Jesus said, come on. Come on. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And all the other disciples were thinking about joining him. No, they weren't. Not a one of them said, hey, let's go. Let's all go. Let's go. No, they didn't. Man, I don't know. Holy mackerel.
They were probably too shook by the storm.
I remember we had a cave. We had a cave that we could go spelunking. Nobody knew where that cave was except kids. It's still there, I guess. And we'd go down, and I took Danny one time, and he was smarter than me, and he said, that don't look like you had to get on your back and scoot down into a crevice to get into the cave. And I could hear him when I got in, he says, Dan, come on! We belong in there. And I think, Peter, son Peter, had Andrew. Andrew was probably saying, there was Peter, boy, he was throwing his leg over, and Andrew said, what are you doing? This ain't a good idea. This ain't a good idea. Peter said, man, I'm going for broke. Peter was insane, man. There's a lot about Peter you can say, man, bless his heart. But then stuff like this, if it really is you, call me out on the water too. Come on. He said he did. He went on walking on the water to Jesus. All right, let's go on the next slide. But when Peter saw the wind was boisterous, he had forgotten. It had never stopped being boisterous. They was in trouble before Jesus showed up. And he forgot all about it. Now he remembers it. He was afraid. And he began to sink. And he cried, saying, Lord, save me. You know what I like? There's a lot of things I like. It doesn't say he turned around and swam, tried to get, no, he knew, I ain't got a chance to go back. It's go on or nothing. It's go on or nothing. My only hope is not back there. Oh, I wish I could learn that. My only hope is not back there. That's gone, the past. I ain't got no help back there. In the Star Wars movie where you first meet Rey, she's talking to this strange little alien person that they meet on a planet. And this little creature tells Rey, says, the belonging that you seek is not behind you, it is ahead. When I go to see a Star Wars movie, I fully expect for God to say something to me. Whatever song I'm listening to, whatever movie I'm watching, whatever book, speak to me. Say something. Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand, caught him, said to him, O thou of little faith. Now he's not doing that in a scolding way. If you'll read the scriptures, you'll find out that's the way Jesus thinks about all of us. O thou of little faith. Why did you doubt? Why did you doubt? You're kidding, right? You're just kidding, aren't you? Next slide. Well, they were coming to the ship. The wind ceased. They come into the ship. They had to crawl up, give me a boost. Let me ask you something. You heard this question, hadn't you? You heard it. How did Peter get back to the boat? How did he get back? They walked back.
And walk back.
Walk back. He didn't carry. He didn't say, let me throw you up on my shoulder. How stupid would that have looked? That wouldn't have made a very good painting, would it? They walked back. They walked back. Then when they were in the ship, they came and worshiped him, saying, man, you really are the Son of God. Jesus, it's not in the text, but he said, duh. Are you getting it? Are you? I just fed 5,000 people with a handful of... And what he puts up with me, with us. Man. Yeah, that's right. You boys, oh, y'all are coming along. Whew. Next slide. Well, I like that. He pulled it right up in one hand. Peter, when he got up there, he just threw his arms around him. Jesus is laughing. I know he's laughing. He's just laughing. This is hilarious. And Peter's crying. He's so relieved. He's wet, wetter than a fish. And then Jesus takes him, pulls his hands around his neck. He says, all right. Turns him around a little bit. He says, all right, hold my hand. I don't know how far they are, 20, 30 feet. I don't know how far he walked before he started sinking. I kind of want to think maybe he took a few steps, you know. All right, let's go. Peter, Jesus just walking like it's a day in the park. Show the next slide, Ian. I like that. I like that shot right there. Do you know why you're safe? He's got you. He's got you. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to hang on. You don't have to hope you can. He's got you. I got one last slide here. I just found it. And it's really not completely related, but when I saw it, I said, well, I got to use that because it's a picture that I see all the time, not during a storm, but when the weather's pretty and the water's calm. This is my view. This is what the view I see quite often on a calm, beautiful, pretty day. Show that slide, that last slide. I see that a lot. The storms are his, the water's his. Your problems are his. The devil's not doing anything to you without his permission. It's terrible things come. He knows all about it. He understands. And you're going to sink. I have. Lots of times. You're going to go down. Every time I think of these hurricanes and floods, I think of that old Johnny Cash song. You remember? How high's the water, Mom? It's 2 feet high and rising. Oh, man. How high's the water, Papa? Well, it's 4 feet high and rising. Yeah, I've been there. I've done that. And I've seen that right there. Come on. Come on. I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go. I was scared to death of water when I was little. There was a little girlfriend that I wanted to impress. We snuck into the VFW swimming pool late one night. I was such a sissy. I was even afraid to jump off. I wanted to impress her, but I was just too scared of drowning. Because I knew if I got out there and started drowning, we were there, we climbed over the fence. This is the middle of the night. They'd just leave me floating there. Right? Nobody come and get me. I got grandkids, though. as they see a puddle of water somewhere, they go jump into it head first. They ain't scared of nothing, and that scares me about as much as anything. Wish they was a little bit afraid. If your kids were afraid of water, kind of wish they'd say, ooh, that's deep. Put your floaties, put your swimmies on. My goodness. Well, I guess I'm still a little afraid of sinking. And I got you. I got you. I believe the last time I preached on Sunday night, I ended with Star Wars. I already used Star Wars. Now we're going to close tonight with a very solemn Superman example. Christopher Reeve, first Superman. Lois Lane falls off the top of a building from a helicopter. Nobody's ever even heard of Superman. I mean, Clark Kent's already working at the Daily Planet, but he hadn't made his appearance yet. And Lois Lane is just falling 90-0 down, she's falling. And all of a sudden, Superman appears. Remember what he said?
Don't worry, miss, I got you.
He said, I got you. And she says,
Who's got you?
who's got you? Who's got you? Jesus says, I got you. And we say, yeah, but who's got you? And he said, my Father has me. We got you. All right. Let me pray for you. I don't know what you're sinking up in. Sometimes it's worse than water. Father, thank you, Lord Jesus. Storms, the darkness, the clouds, the wind and the rain, everything's so out of our control. Yes, we have little faith. But we got as much as we need because every bit of faith we got is invested in you. And you got us. Help us to never be afraid to say, to climb out of the boat when you say, come on, or to ask you to call it, Lord, if that really is you, call me. If that really is you, just call me. Every one of our members here tonight and those who are not here, that are noticeably missing, let them know you got a hold of them. You got it. You're not going to let go. You're never going to throw them away. You're never going to walk away from them. You're never going to abandon them. You're never going to give up on them. You got it. Many others will. Many others will. But you never will. Thank you. Strengthen us. Make us strong. Give us courage. Help us to look forward to our belonging. For we ask it, Lord Jesus, in your name. Amen. Amen. I don't know if y'all enjoyed that, but I had a big time